like to call to order this June 17th meeting of the Monroe County Redevelopment Commission. I noticed that we have 4 of our voting members of the commission available. Myself, Richard Martin, Lisa Abbott, Jim Shelton, and Iris Kiesling. We're also joined by Dana Carr, who is also representing the RBB School District. We have staff Jeff Cockrell and Lisa Ridge, and we have a message from Efrat that she will not be able to attend. There are some other people that are on the line. We will be getting in touch with them as we go. The protocol will be, if you need to speak, please raise your hand and I will try and find you in my list. Supposedly your hand raising should put you at the top of the list so I can find you. And with that, I think we are ready to go. Anybody have a question before we start?
I don't see anybody.
Seeing no hands raised. Jeff, I'm going to turn it over to you to get started on the annual reports.
Yes, and you guys should have received a copy of this a few months ago, actually. These have been uploaded into the gateway with the understanding that if we see any need for corrections or changes, that we can always go ahead and do that. We have 4 annual reports, 1 for each of the TIF districts, and Greg Garataz, our financial advisor, will be going through those with you. I always like to give a brief overview of what the 4 districts are, because this is the meeting where we invite all the taxing units to and allow them to understand. The first one would be the West Side TIF district, which is our most successful. It's the one that has Cook's International headquarters and is just kind of west of I-69, north of 48. So those are kind of that's kind of the big one. That's the one that we've always had traditionally the most revenue in and also the most projects. The second one is the State Road 46 corridor TIF, which is basically north of the West Side TIF. It's along 46 corridor, and it's just kind of north and south of 46, right around where Curry Pike intersects with it. That is the one that, you know, we have debt obligations, but it's also backed by the developer, and we have not had enough revenue in that historically to pay the debt, and so the developer historically has to cover that. We have the Fulton Pike TIF, which was created for the Fulton Pike Road project, which is underway, and I think you guys have been getting updates about that frequently throughout the course of the year. And then our 4th is also our newest, which is the Curry Profile TIF, which has 2 parcels in it, which is the old GE site. This was kind of taken out of the West Side TIF and created into its own TIF due to the rehabilitation of that site. So those are kind of the overview of the 4 districts we have. And at this point, I turn it over to Greg and let him kind of go through his report.
Okay, Greg, can you hear us and participate?
I'm here, but I don't know why I don't get a video. Because I'm on my iPhone, which is why usually I can get a video. I'll get on my computer. That'll be easier, and I can read everything better.
Okay.
I'll move to that site. Oh. I have to go to another room. So I can listen.
And Hans, I don't know if you control this or if Greg controls this, but he is muted at this point.
He's what?
Muted.
I don't have Greg. No.
There we go.
There he is.
Am I unmuted now?
You are
Yeah,
unmuted.
sorry, I'm not sure how you got muted that way.
Perfect.
He's on his phone.
Someone has control.
Oh, okay.
That's the problem, usually. I've been on so many of these, I'm getting used to it.
Okay.
You can go talk about it and I'll find you.
Iris, can you
Okay.
mute yourself? If you're not,
What?
please mute yourself if you're not actively speaking.
I will do.
Thank you.
Oh.
All right, Greg.
Okay, super. Thank you and good afternoon. I'm going to go through our presentation, which kind of sums up everything. And just to begin, you know, there's nothing more important in today's world than economic development and what these TIF districts bring to Monroe County. So I'm going to go through, you know, both the impact of the TIF district, both positive and negative, so that we all clearly understand. Martin or Hans, Richard or Hans, will you be driving? I will be considering this page 1.
I will be running the presentation here.
Okay. So when I say page 2, you will now flip to page 2. Thank you. Page 2. So page 2, some of the things we're going to go over, and please stop me at any point in time. I'm used to stopping on a dime. But what I'm going to do is go through for each of the districts and hopefully then satisfy and give you enough information so that when you get to your resolutions in item number 3, you'll have enough information to be able to vote on those resolutions. We're going to go generally through the district, some of the expected budgets, current proposed debt, and the impact on each taxing unit. Page 3. Okay, Jeff did give you a nice little overview of the districts. This is to get you to focus. I wanted to bring to your attention the west side, Fuller Pike, State Road 46, and then the Curry Pike allocation area. And this generally describes them. Page 4. Page 4, when I do this across the state of Indiana, especially for the underlying taxing districts, they always like to know what is the end dates, because there are end dates. Now, I do believe that, and I'll let Jeff, if he needs to add any information, I put the State Road 46 under current estimate, but I believe there may be other things going on there, so he may have some better information. But these are generally the dates on when they end. Any questions there? If not, turning to page 5. Everybody likes to know where is the TIF district, and I know the Redevelopment Commission as a whole understands the districts very well, but we're trying to also communicate this in a very open and honest way to all the underlying taxing districts if they're on the phone. And so this is the west side, the map of the west side, and I got to applaud. We've been able to get some good maps out of your Redevelopment Commission group. Page 6. Page 6 is the future capital outlays. We've got lots of plans going on in the West Side TIF. As Jeff explained, this is our best TIF out there, the most productive, very, very valuable, has been very, very valuable in the past, will be in the future. And again, going forward, there is nothing going to be more important than economic development and making good things happen. So, Lisa, is there anything you would like to say on these capital projects?
No. If anybody wants updates, I can provide that later. But this also anticipate to happen. Of course, we still have to do right-of-way acquisition for the Vernal Pike project and the Curry Pike project. So you never know how long that's going to take. So if anybody has any questions on a certain project, I'd be happy to answer that.
Lisa, this is Jim. What is the Vernal Pike Trail? I don't recognize that name.
There's a little piece that's been on the books for a little bit. It's actually connecting over there at Loesch Road and going east. It's a small piece, but involves Indiana Railroad. And So I guess I could have turned on my video so you could see me talking. So that way, the design's been going back and forth between Indiana Railroad and Smith Rehab. So that's kind of where that's at. It's not a very big piece, but it's a connector piece.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lisa, for that. Well, can we go to page 7, please? Page 7 is now the estimated cash flow for the West Side TIF district from 2020 to 2024. First obvious thing, and Jeff brought this to our attention, is you'll notice a negative 7 million. We know that. We've been talking about that, and you'll note the note at the bottom that, and Lisa, we've spoken about this several times, that $10 million project can't happen without the NDOT grant.
Exactly. The NDOT amount, I believe, is 7.7 million. So and it's slated for that fiscal year. So.
And as Lisa knows, and the Redevelopment Commission knows, we will go with this. This will be critical as we update each year from here on out. Questions?
Yes. Lisa, you had mentioned a 7.7. This is saying 7.1. What's the?
Lisa's got a better number.
It could be 7.1, but I'd have to pull it to. I was thinking it's 7.7 though. I don't have the actual award in front of me, but I can verify that.
Yes, we will need to know exactly as soon as possible because the deficit here is 7.7.
I think it's actually, hang on. I think it's on the reports and stuff that I sent to you guys. Go ahead and I'll look through this paperwork.
Okay. All right.
Well, while you're looking at that, I don't think our commitment to RBB CSC of about 270K runs that far. Does it? I don't know the exact date.
I think there's one more year. I think it does not run into 2022.
I think that's correct.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, this is Dana Kerr. It is set to end the current, but we would like to come back to the Redevelopment Commission regarding our Ready Schools grant. We did get the ROI grant, and so we'll be bringing that up and hoping that we can continue our relationship, because with the Ready Schools, you know, STEM was great for foundation. The Ready Schools is actually preparing our students to work in the industries in the TIF district. So it's very much related to the actual workforce in the TIF and in the community area. But I won't go into that now and take up too much time. But just to put that out there, we are going to come back to you guys with a proposal.
Okay.
Well, and I'm sure we'd be happy to listen to you and talk to you, but right now, it ends in what, 2021?
That is,
or is it?
I thought we had a year left.
Well, that would be a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be 1 year more.
Yeah, I think that's it.
So Greg, you would zero those out for 2022, 23, and 2024, at least right now.
I understand. Lisa? I thought we got that off of an email, the 7,088,000.
Okay, that is it, 7,088,000. You are correct.
Okay. So we're still, what, 500,000 short? 700,000 short?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to say we're going to be way too tight at this point, but yeah.
Okay, so you will provide us with an updated 5-year cash flow for the west side?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Ending the 270 2021 is what I think I thoroughly heard.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Page 8. Page 8 is our West Side redevelopment bonds of 2013 that you saw that we successfully refunded and at a very low interest rate of 2%. Page 9. Page 9 are the 2015 West Side bonds. We'll again be looking at in the future about refunding these. I believe these were the ones that that allowed us to maintain the TIF district in the future. Next, page 10 is the 2020 bonds, the ones that we successfully did, and very low interest rate on those also. Page 11. So, as I said, a lot of people say, "You're okay. You've captured my TIF revenue." Number one, we've answered the question about how we're going to use that TIF revenue. We got lots of projects and we're paying our debts. And so let's go to one of the benefits of the TIF district. One of the benefits is, and most people do not understand this, is that there's two classes of property in a TIF district. One's real, one's personal. I like to say that Assembly Hall is real property. The chair that Bobby Knight threw across the floor is personal property. So the things that, you know, Jim's got that headset on, that's personal property. What he's sitting on is personal property. That's all personal property. We do not capture that in Monroe County, in any of Monroe County's TIF districts. We could if we wanted to, but we do not. And I believe that's correct, right, Jeff? There's no district we collected in.
I believe that the Curry profile is
Yes.
one where we do collect.
Yes, I believe
Personal
that was
property.
I was
I think
wondering,
you're right.
the Cook one. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So on this one, we've estimated approximately 10 million, and that's a very low estimate. And as you can see, then that benefits the underlying taxing districts in total of 170,000. So that's the point. The point is when you do a TIF district like the West Side and we capture the real, we create a tremendous amount of benefit, one right here. Page 12, once you create that personal property, you also then create AV, which benefits the school, benefits the township, benefits the library, and you can see the small benefit. It takes a lot of AV, but this is the incremental impact on circuit breaker. Next page, page 13. Obviously, when you create the TIF, you create jobs, and so the other final benefit of a TIF district, and this is important because you know, this is the most valuable dollar to me in the future for Monroe County. It's the income tax dollar. And the income tax dollars, you can see here, we've estimated 15 million, very conservative, could easily be double that. And then you could see that the annual estimated income taxes benefiting everybody is about 121,000. Could be as much as 400,000. But it's very, very hard to get the wages just in the TIF district. Any questions on that?
Nope.
If not, I would like you to move to the Fullerton Pike, page 14. This is the district as you see it on the map, and not much there. Page 15 shows us the awesome capital plan that Lisa put together for us, and what we're trying to achieve out there at our Fullerton Pike TIF district. Lisa, anything you would want to share there?
No, we also have a couple other funds that help fund this project, obviously, since the funds went way down on this TIF district. But again, I can answer any questions on the project.
All it's waiting
and
on is
Lisa-
money.
It is
Great
actually
segue.
it's under design, and actually the bridge of this project has increased, and this is dictated by DNR, is over a 525-foot bridge, and that's why the cost of this project is so enormous.
That probably means it's a major bridge, correct?
Absolutely, it's a major bridge. You are correct.
Wow, one of those really
Major
good,
bridge fund.
which was one of those really great tools Monroe County put into service a while ago.
Yeah, just like 2 years ago, actually. But it's it will. We have 6 existing bridges that meet that criteria over a 200-foot length, and then Fullerton Pike will have 2 of them. And then we're also Mount Tabor Road. We're doing 1, and that'll exceed that 200 feet also.
So I like to say, Lisa, this is a great partnership between Redevelopment Commission funds and other funds.
Absolutely. We use the local road and street fund for this project. Major bridge fund will be a large portion of this project. I reached out to NDOT and asked them how long of approach I can have to a bridge to actually use it as the cost of the bridge, and there's no length, so I can use a whole mile. So
super. Page 16. We'll go to the cash flow. This one's pretty easy. We basically tell Lisa, keep a few $100,000 if you can in there, but you're basically looking at about $300,000 a year if the the estimated revenue does not go down. Now, this is a good thing for me to bring up to the Redevelopment Commission, and at some point in time, we're going to want to have your local assessor in, because the Redevelopment Commission does need to be concerned with assessments hitting 2022. Notice I went 2022, and you're like, Greg, isn't that a little far out there? And I'm like, no, actually, it'll be the assessment on 1/1/21. And if we are to fill any COVID impact, this is being discussed statewide, that it will impact 1/1/21, which will then impact our revenues in 2022. So I'm telling the Redevelopment Commission, number one, we're on it. Well, we may want to talk to the assessor as time goes on later this year, but I'm just cautioning everybody on the phone, we've really got to keep an eye on our TIF, because there is potential for the revenue to go down.
Yep.
Questions on that? If not, I'll turn to page 17. This is an estimate of some of the wages, the benefit there from the wages. Page 18, small circuit breaker impact. And then page 19 was the personal property impact. Again, each TIF district, we do have benefits. Page 19 is the personal property. So we'll move to any questions on that district. If not, we'll move to page 20 in the 46 corridor. Great. Let's go into 20. You see the map of that. And on 21, you see, again, Lisa's excellent capital improvement plan that she's put out for me. And anything you want to share there, Lisa?
We got to go to the next page video.
Page 21. Yes, sir.
Okay.
There you go.
actually, we're kind of in discussions right now. We had a meeting with planning, just kind of looking at different areas of connectivity. We've had discussion with Jeff Cockrell, different things that, you know, we want to maybe foresee as connectivity in this area. So it's kind of in the works right now that we just began discussions in the past week.
Right. So as
Super page.
Yeah, as of now, this TIF is done next year if nothing else happens. Is that correct, Jeff?
Well, the foundation documents for the TIF were formed in 2002 and indicated that it's a 30-year TIF district. So that would be 2032. I need to double check. I believe this was created after the, you know, have the TIFs as long as in perpetuation.
Right.
And that's when we did like we did with the West Side, which was founded about 12 years, 10 to 12 years earlier. I need to double check just to make sure that is accurate. But according to the foundation documents, it expires in 2032. And I think that the state legislature change was only that they made a few years ago only affected those that were established under in the time frame where they could last forever. And I think we looked at it at that point in time. And so I'm pretty confident to say that this one will run in 2032, but our debt payment certainly ends in January, February of next year based upon this year's tax collections.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, if we may, then we'll go to page 22. I'm sorry, page 22. This is our estimated cash flow that we know at this point in time.
Right.
Page 23 is our amortization schedule that was put together back in 2010, and what we're trying to achieve as far as repayment, keeping in mind that the Redevelopment Commissioner, the county is not on the hook for this one.
All right. Do we have someplace a statement of exactly how much of this we've paid?
Good question, Jeff.
We can certainly get that. I mean, that all should be accessible through our auditor's records. I would suspect that we're paying now, I think we're paying roughly a third. I think if we go to the previous page, I think it'd show what our revenue was. And we pay all our revenue except for our costs of maintaining the TIF district, which includes the annual report and those fees.
Right.
But essentially everything else we pay over.
Okay.
Yeah. Estimated revenue was around 325.
Okay.
Jeff, our trustee, I believe we also have a trustee bank. They would have a probably total record too.
Yeah, well, I think we could get. I don't have the record right now, but I'm sure we can get it.
Yeah, we may need it going forward in discussions.
Okay.
That was the reason for the question.
Okay.
If there's no other questions, moving to page 24. 24 again, estimated annual wages from the area. Even though not a lot has happened out there, there has been some good things that have brought in both wages and help on the page 25, the circuit breaker.
Mm-hmm.
And then on page 26, the personal property. So again, we like to document. There's good things on each one of these. Mm-hmm. If nothing else, let's move to page 27 and the Curry profile. It's pretty easy. You see the map, and on page 28, you will see all future capital outlays will be funded by the proceeds of the TIF bonds issued in 2018. And at this point in time, if you turn to whoever's driving, page 28, and then really page 29. Page 29 is the cash flow. And as you can see, we're awaiting TIF revenue, which is very common. And as you know, it takes a couple years to bring some in. Mm-hmm. Very conservative estimate that we've got there. Our debt, as you can see, starts in 2023 on page 30. And that's really awesome. And I believe Ted was on here. Ted, that was one of the best things we ever did, is set this up as forgivable because that really makes this TIF district look good and you know, and really helps it out rather than just having a bunch of negatives. So that's a summary of the 30 pages that I have just went through. We are making the recommendation on each of your TIF districts. that you are in need of 100% of the collection. And I tried to demonstrate that throughout these 30 pages, that we've got a lot of good things going on. We've made a lot of good things happen, but without the TIF, we couldn't continue. So at this point in time, that would be our recommendation on all 4 resolutions that you'll consider tonight, and I'm open for any questions.
Anybody got a question? Please raise your hand. Seeing none, I believe we accept the report. Do you need a motion for us to accept the report, Jeff?
I think that would be appropriate, yes.
Okay,
I move we accept the report.
Second,
we have a motion and a second from Lisa, I assume it was.
yes.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye
Aye.
or say yes on the button. Is there anybody opposed? Motion passes.
I would just note that we're still under the governor's guidelines, which indicates that all votes have to be done in a roll call fashion.
Ah, okay.
So I am more than happy to read the roll.
Read the roll, please.
Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Abbott,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelton,
Yes.
Commissioner Kiesling, she is muted.
She is muted. Iris? That's recorded as 4 and an abstention. Or 3 and an abstention.
Motion is approved. 3-0-1.
Yep.
Jeff, do we need to do these resolutions one at a time?
I think you could do them in one motion.
Okay.
If that's your interest.
Let me introduce them and then we can dispose of them. Okay, we will have resolution 2020-01, 2020-02, 2020-03, 2020-04. These are the resolutions indicating that for each of the TIF districts that we find, based upon the reports that have been given to us, that we find there is no excess assessed value that may be allocated to the respective taxing units from each of the respective TIF areas: Fullerton Pike, Curry Profile, 46 Corridor, and West Side Economic Development Area.
I so move.
Any further discussion?
No.
Jim?
No, I move that we approve the resolutions, that there is no excess assessed evaluation.
Second, Lisa again.
Lisa seconds. Jeff, you want to call the roll?
Yes, Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Abbott,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelton,
Yes.
Commissioner Kiesling is still muted. So given what we did the time before it, the motion is approved 3-0-1.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
And thank Greg, that was very good.
Thank you.
All right. Jeff, then you want to deal with item number 4, the review of a tax abatement application?
Yes, I am more than happy. We have company representatives as well as members of the BEDC who may wish to speak on behalf of the company. I will say that we received a request for a tax abatement, which would be in the West Side TIF district. As I think the company will explain, it's the former Hull sign site that they purchased and they want to do improvements on. As you know, that we always have the RDC look at any tax abatements on real property in the TIF district so that the commissioners can approve a finding based upon with your input. This tax abatement is for, but they have one for both real and personal property, and the criteria that the RDC has historically looked at is whether this would impair any of the current bonding found in that TIF district. I think that given that we just heard the annual reports, I think that you guys probably have the information from those reports and that presentation to kind of make that finding. I would now turn it over to the business to let them explain who they are and what they're doing so that you guys get a better feel for what's going on in the district.
Okay, who's going to speak for them?
Well, my name's Clark Greiner. I'm with the BEDC. I'd just like to make a quick introduction and then I'll turn it over to the company and the company representative. You know, I'm with my name's Clark Greiner. As I said, I'm with the Bloomington Economic Development Corporation, and I'm very pleased to introduce and welcome publicly Provelli and the Provelli team to Monroe County. Let me introduce some of the leaders there. Mr. Reinhard Seifers, he is an owner, Thomas Seifers, and then Gary Higgy is a CFO, and Ben Worrell. Joining us tonight is, it looks like it's going to be Thomas and Ben. And as Jeff indicated, you know, Provelli has made a strategic investment in Monroe County, and as a result, they are seeking a tax abatement for both future and personal and real property for this area. They're going to be hiring upwards of 60 Monroe County residents. And I'll let the team describe kind of the intricacies of the company and the successes that they've had in the past and hopefully in the future. And so they are an advanced manufacturing company that designs, fabricates, and installs high quality signs and mailboxes. So with that, I will turn it over to the Provelli team and Mr. Ben Worrell, who is one of their strategic advisors. Thank you.
Thank you, Clark, and thank you, commission members. It's I believe there were several of you who have potentially sat in on other meetings. We've been in front of the county council so far, as well as the Economic Development Commission. So, you know, for those of you who have seen some of this presentation here already, I'll try to keep it fairly brief. But for those who haven't, I think Mr. Hans Kelson, do you have a presentation?
Here we go. I'm getting it up right now.
Thank you, sir.
I was just going to make sure that it was the right time for it.
Perfect. And similar to what Mr. Gregg was doing there, I'll just tell you when we can go ahead and advance. So if you can go to the next slide here, this is a summary page of the project that we have before you today. And again, I will let Mr. Thomas Seifers talk about the background on the company. So I'll just be reviewing this so you have a high level overview of what we are considering for the project. And then he can go into a little more detail on exactly what made their decision for Monroe County and the Bloomington area. So as stated here, they are located currently in Atlanta, Georgia. That's where they're headquartered out of, and have an opportunity to look at Hull signs and utilize that as their manufacturing hub for their really nationwide presence as they continue to grow that. Currently about 45 employees down in the Georgia area as they've gone through the acquisition process with Hull signs. Have added nearly 30 employees to their payroll now inside of Monroe County. And as Mr. Clark Greiner had mentioned before, are looking to add another 60 in the future. And that's just what we can project out over the next 3 to 5 years. If we can go to the next slide, please. Again, Mr. Seifers will go through and talk about the background of where they've come from. Their flagship company is this Addresses of Distinction. Mailboxes and street signs is the particular area that they've focused in on. You can see an example of some of that here. If we can go to the next slide, please. Just a little bit further from what's coming from their website, which I'd encourage you to visit and find out a little more information there as well. I'll buzz kind of through these because I don't want to steal Thomas's thunder because he's got a great story to share of how they got to this point in time. So if we can go to the next slide, I believe we start to get into some of the future investment that's coming along here. Again, an estimated hourly wage between $18 and $20 an hour on these new positions that'll be coming through. Again, that's an estimate of the average of all of the new positions coming through. And we've got a slide a little bit further on in just a minute that will show an estimated breakdown of where those positions may be. Again, understand the location here inside of Monroe County, coming in from Atlanta, Georgia, and bringing in various positions. And again, we've had some great conversations with the Bloomington EDC about some opportunities to connect with workforce and to be able to continue to fill these positions and make that a very successful operation as it moves forward. Go to the next slide, please. And I've been over most of the information here, so if we can go to one more slide, I believe that gets to the investment scenario. Yes, thank you. So as far as capital investment with this particular project, what we're looking at is both real and personal property tax abatement. Here's what that's based on. The potential future for a building expansion in the very near future. Again, all things depending on how the current circumstances, economic situation goes. But then additionally, personal property going in with new machinery and equipment. And that's probably their biggest focus for right now. There's an opportunity with the current haul sign infrastructure to add some additional equipment, as well as do a little bit of revamping of the equipment that's there, but then also look at building expansion in the near future. And again, this is inside the west side TIF. And as was stated earlier, very eloquently, it's a very healthy TIF. So this is a great opportunity to add another employer into that area and add additional jobs. And the last slide here, if you can please go to that one, shows our projections, at least for what the future may hold. So obviously here in 2020, that can be these numbers may have been pushed out just a little bit with the COVID-19 scenario that we're faced with now. However, looking out into the future, what we would anticipate is 60 new jobs. And as you can see, the vast majority of those are on the advanced manufacturing side. So these are fabricators, machine operators, welders that'll be coming in at an average wage across the way there of about $18 an hour. And again, that would account for initial positions, folks coming in with additional skill sets, and then also looking to train them up and increase wages over time. So with that, that's the summary of the project here. I will turn it over to Mr. Thomas Cyphers. And if Thomas, if you wouldn't mind just giving a little background of where you guys have come from and where you look to go here inside of Monroe County.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, first of all, everyone, for your time. Some of you have been in these meetings before with us, so I appreciate you listening to it again. Just wanted to give a short introduction. My brother Reinhardt and I founded Provelli around 15 years ago. We manufacture a wide variety of products that bring attention to the curb. And so we have multiple brands, but this covers things like mailboxes, street signs, address markers, traffic signs, real estate posts, just different items that sit on the curb. My brother and I started the company from scratch. Some of you heard this before, but the very short version is we wanted to be in business for ourselves. We went to Home Depot, we bought a $99 kit welder and tried to figure out how to make mailboxes. So very grassroots efforts, but we worked hard and we've grown into an industry leader. In December of this past year, we had an opportunity to purchase Hall Signs, which many of you are familiar with. They've just been a fixture of Monroe County for 70 years, almost 71 now. And, we really fell in love with the team at Hall. We bought the real estate as well. And, kind of a little side note, I was probably a little starstruck by Bloomington because I actually went to school at University of Georgia in Athens. And that's a fantastic, college town and college. And when I got to Bloomington, it felt a lot like Athens. And so it really felt like home. And I mean that as a compliment for any people who don't like the Georgia Bulldogs. But we really just decided that, this felt like a good place to make our long-term home. And, since closing in December, we've been steadily investing in the facility. This includes, people, we're already pushing these hiring numbers. The business as a whole, equipment, you name it. We just recently hired a head of operations for the facility. So it's an executive level position who will be relocating to Monroe County and starting in July. We've relocated multiple employees from Atlanta now who will be starting in a week or two and are actually moving and looking at buying houses and things like that in Monroe County. And, I know I speak, and so I know I speak for Reinhardt and myself, when I say that we really enjoyed getting to know a lot of people. We look forward to learning more about Monroe County and Bloomington. And I hope, in the future, when we get past this COVID-19, that we have a chance to meet everyone in person. And so we're very approachable guys. We're very down to earth. If you ever need anything, let us know. We're here. But that's us in a nutshell.
Okay, good. Does that conclude the presentation?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do we have anybody who wants to ask either of the presenters a question? See none. I can come back to the commissioners. Are there any questions before I start asking mine?
I might have, but you go ahead and ask first.
I'm sorry, who is that?
It's Lisa.
Okay.
So my questions are related to the hiring that he was just talking about having done. So why don't you go ahead and ask your questions and I'll follow up if you don't ask the ones I want.
Okay. All right. I guess the first one I have is that, so this is the tax abatement is for both personal property and real property. And our concern is the real property side of this rather than the personal property, since we're not collecting any TIF revenue from the personal property side. Am I correct, Jeff?
That is correct.
Okay. And what I'm looking at is somewhere in the vicinity of $30,000 in the first couple of years would be abated. Is that correct?
That sounds correct to me, yes. Let me.
Okay. So that when I go back and I look at the report that we just received, I can, it's not going to affect the estimated revenues on the report we receive until the later years when we start getting the new revenues coming in from this. So 23, 24, 25, we should start to see estimated revenues from this project. Is that correct?
Yes, it steps up.
Yeah. Okay. So there's not much, there won't be significant impact in 22 when we are in the most need for money.
Well, I guess my thought is that when we declare an economic revitalization area, we put a 5-year limit on that. So I would say that within the next 5 years, I don't know their schedule for construction. I think it was on a slide and I thought it was 2021.
That's correct. If you go back one slide, there's an investment strategy. There it is.
Yeah. So if the new building is constructed in 2021, the taxes would be, that would be on
the assessment would be in 2022, and so we wouldn't start seeing the revenue until 2023.
And yeah, and really the first two years is really heavy on the abated portion of it, and it's phased in. So right. Over the course of it, it's essentially if you looked at the chart for any business over the course of time, it's essentially how the abatement is processed, you receive as much in revenue as you offset in the gradual implementation of that tax rate.
Right. So there really is not going to be any significant impact with respect to the bonds in the West Side TIF at this point in time.
No.
Okay. That's
and Richard, I'm still here, and there's definitely not a negative impact.
Right.
And as you know, in our reports, we keep tax rate and AV pretty stable. So I think this will be an awesome addition for the future revenues.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that. I just wanted to make sure that I was clear that we could state there's no adverse impact. Okay,
Yes, sir, you can.
thank you. All right. Okay, Lisa, that was my question.
Okay, my question actually had to do, can you go to the next slide where you talk about bringing on staff or employees? Okay, so you had mentioned in your presentation that you have already started doing some of this hiring. Did I hear that right?
Correct. So so number one, we did actually, just to clear up, we did purchase the assets of Hall Signs. And so number one, we agreed to employ all of those people, and we've done that. And in addition, we're hiring people as fast as we can right now. It's actually quite a challenging hiring environment with COVID and things, but we are moving product lines to that area now. And so quickly hiring people.
So do you believe that you will have these 25 projected new employees on by the end of this year?
So what?
I was just kind of curious as to where you were in the schedule of hiring of these projected new employees, since you had mentioned that.
Yeah, and I don't know where I don't know where the cutoff comes. So we will probably bring on, I would say, 20 to 25 this year is what's probably happening. You know, I'm trying to do like a mental head count, but yeah, we're already well into that.
And at the outset of this conversation, when we first started talking with the Pravelli team, this was probably back in, gosh, I think it was July, August of last year. You know, certainly this was a conservative schedule at that point in time, because we wanted to make sure that we were targeting accurate numbers, or at least as close as we could be. Certainly, we never would have anticipated the COVID-19 issue coming up through all of that. So I think the fact that they are still looking to keep on track with this is very encouraging, for one thing, but then also, you know, it could be higher than this in the future. I know, Thomas, we've talked about that before, that, you know, as you guys continue to look at further opportunities really around the Midwest, as other acquisitions could be out there, you know, some of those positions could be coming to Monroe County and Bloomington. Is that
correct? I mean,
I
tried to shorten up. Quite a few of these people have already heard our pitch, so I tried to shorten it a bit. But we've grown quite a bit through acquisition. I mean, we're growth guys. We're always looking to grow, and we'd be very hard pressed not to find another acquisition that we roll into this facility, assuming this all goes through and we can actually put these pieces of equipment in this facility, some of these lasers and things like that. I mean, that's what is the hub machine for quite a bit of this, and, you know, building expansions and things. So.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're, as a business, we are up during this period. So, I mean, we're growth guys.
Good. Okay. Lisa, did that answer your question?
Yeah, I just, you know, we've talked about, you know, reduced revenues, you know, income tax is still a revenue. And I thought, well, might be a great opportunity for us to help increase, you know, employment in Monroe County. And he said he was hiring. So I was intrigued, because not very many people are hiring a lot right now.
Well, and I can tell you, we without giving compensation details, we just hired the head of operations from a tier 1 auto supplier. And he is not in Monroe County, and he is relocating his family to Monroe County. And I can tell you that guy's compensation helps move this needle significantly. So, so it's not just, you know, operator level positions.
Well, thank you, and welcome to Monroe County.
We're happy to be here. It's exciting.
Okay. Jeff, am I correct now that our order of business is to declare that there is no adverse impact from this tax abatement on the ability of the TIF district to meet its obligations?
And I think historically the language we've used is that the approval of the tax abatement will not jeopardize the West Side TIF's ability to meet its bond obligations is kind of the phrasing we've used historically for this, but it's the same concept, yes.
Okay, would somebody like to make a motion to the effect of Jeff's words just then?
I would like to so move. because it's clear this is going to help and in no possible way hurt.
I will
Okay.
second.
All right, we have a motion by Jim and a second from Lisa. Jeff, would you like to read the roll?
Yes, Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Abbott,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelton,
Yes.
and Commissioner Kiesling. I thought I saw that she was unmuted, but I could have been wrong. Well, we will do the 301. Motion is approved.
Okay,
Thank you all.
all right.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you all. Or thank you all.
We have a raised
Thank
hand.
you.
I believe.
Yes, Jennifer, did you want to speak on something here?
All I wanted to say was just thank you to the commissioners and the RDC. The BDC has been really pleased to work with the Provelli team since last fall on their relocation. For those of us that haven't met, my name is Jen Pearl, and I'm the president of the BEDC and work alongside Clark. And it's just been really clear their investment in the community when there's an acquisition. It's, you know, it can go different ways, but they're clearly committed to the community here, and we're really excited to be working with them. It's always good news, but it's especially good news, not only for Monroe County, but for the region right now, because this really does feed into the larger region. So thank you.
Thank you and Clark.
Yeah. Find us some more.
Yeah.
Well, they both have been very, very helpful when we've had these key hires, and as we're recruiting people, we have absolutely started email chains with Jennifer and Clark, and just saying, hey, these people are looking at moving to the area. Can you help, you know, give them some pointers and be here to field questions? And so I think that's been very helpful. So thank y'all.
Good. Thank
Great.
you.
You bet. We're glad to do it.
All right. Okay, the next order of business we have has to do with our claims. Jeff, you sent us an updated claims the other day.
Yes. Sorry about that. We had a little confusion between what was in my mind and what was actually true and accurate from the highway department. So I apologize for the 2 rounds. But it looks like we have 6 claims. They total $396,834.20. And I think the projects are the Hart Strait project and the Profile Parkway project. We have 1 claim, Kreider and Kreider, for the Profile project of $207,272.07. If you look at that claim sheet, there was another number, $171,000. That was actually approved at our last meeting in April, so that's why it's not on this claims listing. We have the Kreider and Kreider for the Hart Strait project of $146,674.12. We have Smith Rehab for the Hart Strait project of $2,464. We have 3 DLZ Profile Parkway claims of one of $34,290, one of $4,165, and one for $1,969.01. So those are our claims today. If you have any questions, I'm sure Lisa and I will do our best to answer them.
No, I think I'm okay on them. I noticed that we don't have an affidavit for payment for a couple of these.
The affidavit for payments are only utilized when we're utilizing bond proceeds that are with a trustee. And so if there's no affidavit of payment, that means that we are paying it for out of a different source and not out of the bond funding.
Okay, all right. So 2 of these are coming out of bond funds and the rest of them are straight. Okay.
So I'll move approval of the claims.
I'll second.
All right, Jeff, would you please read the roll?
Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Abbott,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelton,
Yes.
Commissioner Kiesling. It's 301. Motion is approved.
Okay. All right. We are into staff comment.
Lisa, do you want to go first, or do you want me to?
Go.
I can go first. I can be done. I can report on any of the projects that anybody has an interest in. Hart Straight, all the paving is complete. They're putting down sod, so that should be done. It's scheduled to be done by August, but I think it'll be before that. Profile Parkway, that is underway. If you've been out there, they've moved a lot of dirt at that project. The Vernal Pike, we have just assigned parcel information to start the right-of-way acquisition. That's under process. Fullerton Pike Phase 2, they're doing just the finishing touches of that. Phase 3 is under design, of course. And if you have any other questions, and I want to say it's great about the hall signs, because as highway director, we've been doing work with hall signs for, I've been here 33 years, so I know we've been buying signs from there. So I'm anxious to see what the changes will be, and working with the new company that's in town. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Does anyone have any questions for Lisa?
Nope, thanks for the info.
No, thank you.
And I have one thing. I met with Lisa and the planning department to start talking about the North Park TIF and what projects there are. And, you know, we know that the bond is going to expire at the end of this year. So we want to see if there's any interest. And again, I think we're starting from, are there any projects that are worthy of kind of looking at to see if there's another bond or something else that we would want to do with that. I think meeting with planning, meeting with highway was helpful. I think we probably, our plan is to meet with the developer of the projects over there and see what his thoughts are on future projects. And I think from a staff perspective, it would be great if you guys if one of the RDC members would want to be part of all those conversations and kind of give us guidance and hear what they have to say, so that we make sure we process the information and get it to the entire commission in a way that makes sense.
I'm certainly willing to do that, having been one of the people that shepherded through the original development plan for that area. Got a long history there. I'm also interested in the comments you had made earlier about the possibility of residential TIF in that area, since I know there is residential as part of that original development plan, and whether there would be some interest in pursuing something there and dealing with that as part of it, as part of this going forward with the TIF. So that's something that I'd be interested in too.
And I think that is something that we want to work through. I think we want to figure out, you know, what are the major projects, and that residential housing TIF kind of idea and using funding for that is one of the things that we really want to look at and talk with the developer, see what's going on, see what his thoughts are on it.
Yeah.
I think that's all part of the conversation that we need to have with the developer and with planning to see, you know, what's the best use and what kind of infrastructure would be appropriate for us to help to get that use in place.
Get along, right.
And Jeff, I'm particularly interested in the housing aspect of that project, so I would be happy to sit in on those conversations and help in any way I can with that part.
Awesome.
Me too, as long as it doesn't cause a quorum problem.
Yeah. That's always our problem when we get into these other meeting stuff.
Well, with the redevelopment context, two's company, three's a crowd.
Yeah.
I know. So
what we'll do is, what I'll probably do is I'll probably work with Lisa, and we've been working with Jackie in the planning department to try to allocate some times and some dates where we're available, and work with Steve to see when he's available, and let you guys know, and make sure at least one or two of you guys are available for those kind of conversations, and just kind of work the calendar that way.
Yep, that sounds good.
Well, that's great. And I can just be a sub since I'm retired. I'm usually available.
Thank you.
Good, sounds good.
And that is all I had.
All right, do we have any more commissioners' comments at this point? Or do we have anybody that's joined us remotely who is interested in saying something to us? If you'll raise your hand, we'll try and get you verbalized here. Jen, you got some more to say? Good. Take the floor, please.
Just a small item. As you're looking into the future for the TIF districts, the BDC has been looking at long-term economic recovery plans for the community coming out of COVID-19, as well as applications we're working on for USEDA funding and future business attraction projects. So if we can try to connect any of those conversations about pipelines for business attraction and building employment for the future to plans for the TIFs, we would be very happy to support if we can.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Yep, thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, I think we are probably ready to adjourn then.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Abbott,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelton,
Yes.
Commissioner Kiesling. Meeting is adjourned.